Have you ever wondered what the world would look like on the brink of another global crisis? It might not be what you think. While headlines flash with military drills and political posturing, the real battlefield might be one we all share. The global economy. Let's peel back the layers and look at a situation brewing in the Middle East, one that has the potential to affect your wallet, your job, and the stability of nations thousands of miles away. Imagine this: tensions in the Persian Gulf, a region that holds a massive portion of the world's energy supply, finally boil over. This isn't a far-fetched movie plot. We've seen escalations before, but what if this time it's different? What if it leads to a direct conflict involving Iran? The immediate focus would be on military strategy, but the true weapon of mass disruption wouldn't be a missile. It would be the closure of a single, narrow waterway, the Strait of Hormuz. This strait isn't just a line on a map. It's the planet's most critical oil choke point. At its narrowest, it's only 21 miles wide. Think about that. A stretch of water you could cross in a speedboat holds the key to global economic stability. Every single day, about 21 million barrels of oil pass through this strait. That's roughly 20% of the entire world's daily oil consumption. It's not just oil, either. About a third of the world's liquefied natural gas, or LNG, also makes this journey. It's a conveyor belt of energy, and if that belt stops, the world economy grinds to a halt. So, who would feel the pain first? The most immediate victims would be the countries that depend almost entirely on this route. We're talking about major Asian economies. Japan, a manufacturing powerhouse, imports about 90% of its crude oil through the Strait of Hormuz. South Korea, home to giants like Samsung and Hyundai, is in a similar boat. India, a nation of over 1 billion people with a rapidly growing economy, relies on this strait for more than 60% of its oil imports. And then there's the biggest player of all, China. As the world's largest oil importer, a significant portion of its energy supply sails through these very waters. For these nations, a blockade isn't an inconvenience. It's an existential economic threat. Their factories would go dark, their supply chains would break, and their economies could spiral into recession. But this isn't just an Asian problem. The shockwave would be global. The moment the Strait of Hormuz is closed, or even just perceived to be at high risk, the price of oil would skyrocket. We aren't talking about a few dollars. Analysts predict prices could jump to over $150 a barrel, maybe even $200, almost overnight. What does that mean for you? It means the price you pay at the gas pump could double or even triple in a matter of days. Every single product on your supermarket shelf, from a carton of milk to a box of cereal, would get more expensive because the cost of transporting it just exploded. This isn't just inflation, it's hyperinflation on a global scale, triggered by a single event. Businesses, already struggling with high energy costs, would face a breaking point. Shipping companies would have to reroute their tankers, adding thousands of miles and weeks to their journeys. The cost of insurance for any vessel brave enough to venture near the Persian Gulf would become astronomical. This cascade of costs would be passed down, from manufacturer to retailer, and finally, to you, the consumer. Your purchasing power would evaporate, savings would be wiped out. The global economy, already fragile, could be pushed into a deep, prolonged recession. Far worse than what we saw in 2008. Now, let's look at the grand chessboard of global powers. How would they react? The United States, with its Fifth Fleet, based in nearby Bahrain, has long positioned itself as the guarantor of maritime security in the region. A closure of the strait would be a direct challenge to American prestige and its role as a global superpower. Washington would face immense pressure to intervene militarily to reopen the waterway. But such an intervention would be incredibly risky, potentially leading to a wider, devastating war in the Middle East with unpredictable consequences. And what about China? This is where the situation gets incredibly complex. On one hand, China is the biggest victim of an oil shock. Its entire economic model depends on a steady flow of cheap energy. A blockade would be a catastrophe for Beijing. However, China also has a growing strategic partnership with both Iran and Russia. It has been steadily increasing its naval presence, conducting joint drills with the Russian and Iranian navies in the Gulf of Oman. A conflict could present China with a strategic dilemma. Does it side with its economic needs and support a US-led intervention, or does it see an opportunity to challenge American dominance and support its regional partners? Its choice could reshape the global balance of power for decades. Then there's Russia. For Moscow, a crisis in the Strait of Hormuz is a double-edged sword. As a major oil and gas exporter itself, Russia would benefit immensely from skyrocketing energy prices. The influx of cash could fund its economy and its military endeavors elsewhere. A conflict that preoccupies the United States and its allies in the Middle East would also give Russia a freer hand in other parts of the world, like Eastern Europe. Moscow would likely play a spoiler role, using its diplomatic and military leverage to complicate any Western response, all while profiting from the chaos. This creates a dangerous triangle of interests, where the economic fallout is intertwined with geopolitical maneuvering. So, as we trace the potential fallout, a clear picture emerges. The initial headlines might scream about military clashes, naval battles, and airstrikes. But the real war, the one that affects every single one of us, would be economic. It would be a war fought not with soldiers, but with oil barrels and stock market ticker. The crisis wouldn't just be about who controls a narrow strait of water, it would be about who controls the flow of energy that powers our modern world. The ultimate conclusion is sobering. The greatest threat from a conflict in the Persian Gulf isn't necessarily a large-scale military confrontation. The true crisis is the economic contagion that would spread across the globe with terrifying speed. It would trigger a domino effect, a spike in oil prices, rampant inflation, a stock market crash, mass unemployment, and social unrest in countries far from the conflict zone. It's a stark reminder that in our interconnected world, a regional conflict can quickly become a global catastrophe. The real battle is to prevent the first shot from ever being fired, because the economic war that follows is one that nobody can win. Thanks for watching. If you found this analysis insightful, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the events shaping our world. Stay informed.